Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are having a great day. So this is going to be part two. Polkadot will overtake Ethereum. So been some updates to Polkadot, the new dot they're calling it. And if you recall, Polkadot was trading around $300, had broke over $300, had jumped all the way up to I believe about $330, $340 range. Interesting enough, if you go back a few months ago, this cryptocurrency almost went 4 or 5 times its value. Very interesting, very interesting. Not surprising with the type of technology that it has brought to the cryptocurrency space. But generally what's happened is the value of the Polkadot has been reduced by 100 times. So what that means is if you're holding one unit of Polkadot or the dot coin, it's divided by 100, right? So now you would have $2-3, right? And so I like this because it's more attractive to buy cryptocurrencies where you can hold an entire cryptocurrency. In the investment business, that's generally why you have things like stock splits and so on and so forth. This doesn't change the value of the underlying asset at all. But what it can do is it can cause more people to buy it because it's more attractive to buy things in units you can hold. People feel they got more. People like round numbers. It just is a lot more attractive. And so knowing you can hold an entire dot for $2 or $3, it's probably going to be a lot more attractive than holding one dot for around $300. Comparably, dot coins aren't that far behind Ethereum. Ethereum trading around about $400 right now. Dot around the $300 mark. That's catching its highs and lows last 24-hour period. Very excited about this project. Probably one of my most exciting in cryptocurrency so far because if you miss Bitcoin, I think you pretty much missed all the excitement in cryptocurrency. And I know a lot of people talk about the various altcoins, but probably besides Ethereum, I think if you miss Bitcoin or Ethereum, you probably missed out a lot and probably missed all the excitement. Some people are saying Ripple and EOS, but those cryptocurrencies just haven't done anything for me. They just haven't grabbed me. Now, I like to segue to talking about our project, Btcmyk. Very relative to Polkadot. It is a parachain on the Polkadot network. It is able to operate with Polkadot chains, and so very excited about that. But let's talk about that just a little bit. All right. So recently I caught this video with Anthony Pompliano. Now, if you don't know who Anthony Pompliano is, he's a big advocate for Bitcoin. Appears regularly on CNBC. I think he's an ex-military guy who started his own investment fund with a high interest in the future of Bitcoin and investing in Bitcoin. So he has some interesting point of views, and as of late, he started a podcast, and he talks to a lot of people in the financial industry and cryptocurrency and standard economy. I happened to catch this podcast with Press Inside, and they talked about how universal basic income and digital currency could protect the global economy, but not only that, how it could lead to mass adoption. It could lead to what would happen is if these nations started to create these digital currency on the blockchain and people had to get wallets, then this would usher many into move that value to something more deflationary like Bitcoin. So this is a similar argument to what would people speculate would happen with Facebook Libra coin, and which you now have potentially like 2.5 billion people using Facebook Libra coin. And what would they do? They would decide that it's probably a better play to move that value now in that cryptocurrency to something more deflationary like Bitcoin. So let's think about that for a moment. If that is relational to what could happen to Bitcoin, is universal basic income really what's going to do it for Bitcoin and move Bitcoin along? Well, on paper, it almost seems like a no-brainer because universal basic income would, in a great sense, present a great mass adoption vehicle for for one thing, who would turn it down, right? So you're probably going to have most of the world who are going to accept universal basic income. They're going to have to be wallet cryptocurrency educated on how to use this technology, and they're going to be incentivized to want to be educated on how to learn it based on the incentive of getting the universal basic income. Now, whether the argument of it being sustainable or not is there. What could happen, and what came up a lot in this interview, was that the people collecting the universal basic income through their standard dollars and so on and so forth would want to get that out of this back dollar. So in other words, how this universal basic income will work is it will probably be more like how Facebook Libra coin is going to be, which is you're going to have a stable coin. It's going to be backed by some fiat currency like the US dollar, right? But due to the inflationary rate, right, meaning that the value of it, can reduce a great deal from inflation. People are going to want to put it into something more deflationary like Bitcoin as the value goes up. That coupled with universal basic income is almost a no-brainer to mass adoption. Why is it that the cryptocurrency space hasn't connected the dots on universal basic income, mass adoption, and everybody using your cryptocurrency and having wallets? Once everybody has a wallet, the direction that they go in after that doesn't matter. Where they agree with universal basic income, they are now have become acclimated and part of the cryptocurrency environment to the point where they can move to these other altcoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, or so on and so forth. But I think the bigger problem with cryptocurrency, and I think where many of us are going wrong, is we're under the assumption that people are going to buy into these cryptocurrencies like Ripple and Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? Now, if we look at the data, let's do this comparably to what happened with the stock market. Many times in this economy, when we speak about the economy doing well, we're speaking about the stock market. Here's the problem. The stock market is representative of very few people in the economy, right? As to say, the average salary of most people, Americans, people around the world, isn't that high in relation to what they can invest in the stock market, or if they're interested in investing in the stock market at all. This is similar to cryptocurrency as well. What would motivate a lot of the average salary earners would be something like the idea if they can have a great amount of appreciation. That's why a lot of people had Bitcoin mania, because they felt they could make a lot of money. the reality of the situation now is Bitcoin, due to its mass, in other words, due to it going from its inception from about 1 cent to up to $20,000, now around $12,000, has appreciated over 1.2 million%, right? Going from 1 million to over $12,000. That's like 1.2 million%. Went all the way up to 20,000. That's 2 million% appreciation over the decade it's run. The problem with it's come so far now. The question is it able to keep just going up to $100,000, $200,000? Areas I think people like Anthony Pompliano think is going to go. My opinion about it is it will not do that. I think that the more invested Bitcoin gets, the more similar it gets like gold. And what's happened to gold? Well, gold isn't something you really invest money in to make money. It's more about preserving the money you have, similar to a deflationary project or deflationary coin. You want to put money in something deflationary to protect, more so to protect your wealth than to lose money, right? So if you left your money in, say, the US dollar, annual inflation rate, you're going to have less buying power over the next several years. Whereas if you put it in something like gold, you would have either the same buying power or possibly a great deal more, right? Which is what happens when the economy turns against you. Gold prices usually go up, the value of gold goes up. And so I believe Bitcoin is becoming more like that. It's going to become more of just a better gold and a easier way to maintain your value as opposed to make money. The project we're involved with, Btcmyk, it is at its genesis. And so it can do these crazy gains. Not financial advice, not saying that it's guaranteed to do it, but just saying that, much like how Bitcoin started, it has elements of the deflation. In fact, it's more deflationary than Bitcoin because its deflation rate works against its transactions. The more transactions you do, the more of the currency gets burned, and so it becomes less and less, pulling more value back to the participants as the network grows. It is fractions of a penny now, which means it has a great deal place to go. It forks Bitcoin, if not in principle, of the technology on the chain and idea. I mean, if you hold Bitcoin, you're going to be able to get Btcmyk free. It has a universal basic income program, which pushes it to mass adoption and a social network, which makes it more similar to what you might get with Facebook, LibreCoin, potentially a lot of value and a lot of users. And this is a problem with many cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Ethereum, whereas they've done good monetary policy-wise. They do not have the infrastructure to really create great growth in the social network area and just to be relatable to the average person. Ethereum, I'm not aware of any huge social networks with Ethereum nor Bitcoin, right? And I think this is a mistake. I think social media and cryptocurrency are kind of joined at the hip and they work best in that way. So Btcmyk running on the Polkadot parachain as a Polkadot parachain is the substrate framework. Is something I think that's going to be able to interoperate with many of these cryptocurrencies and give back that incentive to join, like many people had coming into cryptocurrency earlier. Bitcoin just has way too much mass. For Bitcoin to replace gold, the higher the value, you start to get up around 100,000 per Bitcoin, $1 million per Bitcoin. You're talking trillions upon trillions of dollars. The gold market is only about $8 trillion, and most people have come to the conclusion that Bitcoin will never replace gold. So it has to be a limit to this and how much money can be made with Bitcoin. And I think that it's going to need to be more projects that are Bitcoin-like projects that incorporate universal basic income, like Btcmyk, that's going to be able to do that and be relatable to mass adopting people, pulling in that additional value into the project. But let me know what you all think, guys. I'd be interested in hearing your opinions. If you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe. And until next time, as always, take care.